You're listening to REIA Radio, the nationally trusted name in real estate investing. We dig deep to discover investors' why in real estate. If you want to skip all the BS and get in investors' heads, you're in the right spot. Be one of the thousands to check out REIARadio.com.
Well, and that's kind of like my real estate journey. That's how it went. As I started by myself, just doing like most I'm sure do, is go in and let's see what we can find on the internet. What can I find on YouTube? And then I was watching somebody and they just told me, invest in yourself. It'll come back.
So in all of your years of being involved with investment real estate, being an investor, being a contractor, have you ever run across any crazy, weird investment stories?
Yeah, I mean, the crazy things I found in walls.
What have you found in walls?
The voodoo doll was the worst.
Voodoo dolls?
Oh, man, it was bad. I was freaked out. I was like, yep, no, I'm gone. Bye.
Welcome to REIA Radio, episode 132 with Adam Leutik. Leutik. I can't wait to hear that on my stereo with the bass.
I can. That hurt my ears. So Adam Leutik, man, this was a lot of fun listening. He obviously has a much different philosophy on buying real estate than maybe other guests we've had on.
It's our second person we've interviewed that decides to buy real estate investments, but do not take income off of them.
Caden Tinkleberg,
Tinklenberg
being the other one. Yeah, I know. It's funny. You'll have to listen to this to listen or to figure out what we're talking about. But he he has kind of cut his teeth in contracting and eventually leveraged that into working for other real estate investors and doing it to pretty great effect. Like, he's made a lot of money doing that and has bought some investments along the way. We covered some pretty cool stuff about his life, where he's done some things that I think are really commendable, and we'll get into that in the episode. But his family life is man, I have a lot of respect for him. Let's put it that way. He's done some stuff that not a lot of people do.
I first met him. I was trying to get these other REIAs going around the state, and there was a Cass County REIA, and they needed a speaker to kind of get the launch going of it. And so I was presented at that one. I think I mentioned it a couple years ago in podcasting. And I was just really struggling putting that whole presentation together. It was like my most formal presentation I've ever done. And there was 12 people in the room, and he was one of them. And we got chatting after that, and he started coming to the Omaha REIA. He's been a fixture at our groups since. He was at our luncheon today. So I always appreciate his support. But he's a big advocate of his group, and it's called the BRRRR Invest Academy. And the day I met him, he talked about that academy and how amazing it was, and how we should have those guys on the podcast. We still haven't done it. Not saying we won't, but we should look into that.
So I hadn't heard of this before today.
Yeah.
And so BRRRR meaning like buy, rehab, refinance, repeat. Or I missed it.
Yeah,
R there.
Like the BRRRR book.
Yeah, the BRRRR book. So BRRRR Invest Academy is kind of something that Adam has latched onto as his guiding light in the real estate world, and sounds like he's a full-on believer. We're not going to call it a cult, but they just kidding. If you want to sponsor us, BRRRR Invest Academy, we'd appreciate it. And then they have an event coming up. We didn't get a ton of details on that in the episode, so we'll follow up with that. And Ted, I'm sure we'll put it in the show notes. BRRRR 360 event.
Yeah. So he's super excited about that event. He says it brings the whole family together. And he says everything that he's done has been because of that group. And in the end, he has 3 investments currently going at the same time, which we'll get into details on, but they're completely different from each other. Mm-hmm. And one of them is a fire property, so I know his pain on that one.
One of them has something to do with glamping.
Ooh,
so
yes.
For you
I was excited to hear about that.
Bougie listeners, I think you're going to be interested in
When
this.
I was walking them out, I was like, we really need to revisit when you're done with all these, and then just kind of see where the numbers end up on all these, because I really want to know what his numbers were on that.
Yeah, Glamp Tramp. That's I think his new handle.
You should get that on your license plate.
You know, it's funny. I just got my daughter license plates because she's 16 now. So I had to go to the, Pot County Courthouse. And my wife's like, hey, can you get the black and white ones? And I'm like, what? I didn't even know you could choose.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I show up and there's, of course, being the car guy, but there's like a whole wall of like choices that you have. You can choose like, different colors, shades, and whatever. And I was just like, all right, whatever. Okay, I'll get black and white. So I got black and white.
And what color is the car?
Time. It's cherry red.
Oh, so it matches the car real well.
I don't know. I would say contrast.
I was really expecting to say it was like either black or white.
No, neither. But anyway, so hey, I have some news. Should we cover some news? We haven't done that in a little while.
Yeah, so let's talk about some news.
All right. In the news today.
Or this week?
Not today. This week. Mortgage rates from according to Fannie and Freddie, have dropped to 6.77% from 6.89%, which doesn't sound that big, and it's really not. But I would say this: it is a signal that the trends are shifting, the trends and the winds. You like that?
I like that. Yeah.
Okay, so the message here being like, this is not a huge move. Obviously, it's probably not going to do a whole lot in the grand scheme of things for housing activity, buys and sells, and all that. But going down, what do we got? 0.12% doesn't sound like much, but it is a big shift from what we have seen over the last several months, if not the last 18 months. So I think the Fed and a lot of real estate pundits have like posited that over the next, say, year, we're going to have up to 8 interest rate reductions, which I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, they've been saying this forever.
Well, Jay Scott, I was listening to one of his podcasts recently, and he's like a non-official economist, and he said that now, obviously that winds change, as you said before, but now they're saying that they're feeling pretty confident that we're still looking at 2 by the end of the year.
In 2024, yeah. And that may happen, but inflation is pesky. Mm-hmm. It's like the annoying mosquitoes in July in Nebraska. So it's just really not dropped below the 2% threshold that the Fed has claimed for a long time as their goal.
What do you think is the aim for the end of the year with respect to interest rates?
Oh, that's impossible to say.
Okay. Well,
if you had to guess,
are you saying what interest rates are we talking about? Are we talking about the federal funds rate? Are we talking about mortgage rates? Are we talking about mortgage rates?
Assuming that you're probably gonna have let's just say there's 2 drops.
Yeah,
you're probably looking at like 0.25% per drop at the most, wouldn't you say?
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say we are going to be at 6.125 by the end of 2024. That's my educated guess.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. What's your guess? You're on the hot seat now.
I honestly, I have no idea, and I know so little about this part that I don't know. But because with the election cycle, they always, they got to thread a needle here because you don't want to drop the rates during election cycle to show that you're being biased to the current party that's in the presidency. Mm-hmm. So they got to be careful with that. They say that they don't look at that, but they do look at that, and in my opinion, and so they got to be careful around that.
Okay, so that's a non-response from Ted.
that was very political.
5.99 is my guess.
Okay.
There we go.
Whoa, okay. He's getting way aggressive, way more than Owen.
But I have no idea.
Dennis, what say you?
I don't even know what the current rate is right now.
He just told you.
6.77.
Oh,
He's busy
you.
editing and doing whatever.
I think 6.25 is probably where we're going to be at. Not 125, but 6.25.
Okay, that's a pretty aggressive. We got less than 6 months left in the year, so let us know, listeners, what you say about this whole prediction.
Put your guess in the comments with your 5-star review.
Yeah, dog. All right, so so stay tuned for this episode today because we talked about biggest bang for your buck when it comes to contracting, remodeling, you're flipping a house, you're doing a rental turn. What can you put in there that adds some bling that isn't going to break your bank, right?
Yeah.
So I think just a little tease there, but stay tuned for that. And I thought this would be a good time to talk about today's
Golden Nugget. And this Golden Nugget is brought to you by JM Real Estate Capital.
Hi, it's Rob, JM Real Estate Capital. We're the money guys that you need to know for all your real estate investments. Talk to us. We can do what your local bank can't or won't do. We don't have millions, we have trillions with a T to lend. 844 we close, or go online, jmrecapital.com. That's jmrecapital.com. JM Real Estate Capital, smart solutions for the real estate investor.
So I've had a couple of times recently where this situation has presented itself to me. Ted, I want to roll this off of you and see what you say about it. So I've had a couple of opportunities recently to buy a package deal. Package deal meaning it's not just one structure, one building. It's multiple buildings, and it could either be on the same parcel or completely separate. And when you buy one of these things, typically you are going to get one loan, and it's all part of one deal. If a seller has, let's say it's 123 Main Street, and then they also have 123 South 4th Street or whatever, right? You can buy them all together and get a mortgage on the whole thing, right? And so here's my here's where I'm going with this. So a lot of times the hiccup is if you're gonna like try to buy bigger properties like this where there's multiple structures involved, it's gonna be a big down payment, right? You're gonna have 20 to 25% down. If you let's say you're talking about $1 million property,
you're $200,000.
Yeah, 250,000. Not a lot of people have that laying around, or maybe you do, but you've been slugging it out for years.
Or maybe you got to refinance some other properties to get that
exactly.
cash. Yeah.
So yeah, you get it, right? Like it's not a small thing to do this. It's big moves. So let's say you find a seller that has a bundle of deals and they're getting ready to cash out. This happened to me recently, it's happening right now. So let's say you got somebody old, not my old, like way old, Ted, that wants to retire, divest, whatever, and they've got multiple properties, and they say, hey, what do you think about this? So here's my golden nugget for today. I'm proposing that a smart move might be, if you're trying to recoup some capital, to buy the entire package that whatever makes sense for you, right? So this is not a one-size-fits-all deal, but let's say you've got an opportunity to buy multiple things. Maybe you don't want one or two of the properties. So you buy the whole thing, do it with hard money or a line of credit, okay?
I've done exactly what you're talking about before.
Sell off the stuff you don't want. So let's say you've got like an 8-unit that you could buy, but it also comes with a duplex that's like a conversion and it's like shitty and whatever, right? You don't want it, but you're going to buy it because
it's included.
You want the A-plex.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying here is, and I just did this recently, buy the whole thing, sell off the duplex, recoup your cash, and now you should, if you do it right, have a cash flowing property with none of your own money in it, right? Mm-hmm. So if you underwrite it correctly, you buy it correctly, this is assuming a lot, obviously, but when you buy a package deal, that's the exciting part. So there's way more options when you have more than one property in one deal. You could potentially like write up the purchase agreement differently. Maybe you are buying the 8-plex for $400,000 instead of $5,000, and you're paying more for the duplex or whatever. And I'm not caveat here. I'm not saying obviously do anything related to loan fraud, but if you're not naming a price on those particular properties, like there's a lot more flexibility in it.
I don't know what exactly you wanted to roll off me on this one, but one thing I can tell you is I've been a real estate agent on multiple deals just like this, seen this happen multiple times where things are peeled off, went towards it, just like you said. But one thing that kind of stood out to me too is that once I was working with a wholesaler and he kept on getting these package deals. Well, every time we did a package deal with him, it was at the end I'd find out that there was like a house or two that were in that package deal that we didn't know about, and he worked those in to be free and clear into his wholesale.
What?
Yeah, so he like, oh yeah, I got a 4-house package, but he actually had like a 5 or 6 house package. And he had the price set up good enough where that he got those houses free and clear with the sale.
So he had 6 houses, sold you 4, and then he paid off the other 2.
Yeah, he walked away with 1 or 2 free houses. He did it to me a couple times.
Wow.
So
I think I know who that person is.
On top, making 20, 30, 40, 50,000.
Okay, no, this is really interesting. So what you're describing is somebody like a ball or a wholesaler that went out, hustled, got multiple properties under contract, and then said, you know what? I like a couple of these properties. I think I'm going to see if I can sell the rest of the portfolio for a little more than what I paid for the whole thing.
Yep.
And then I'm going to keep the 2 or 1 or whatever.
Free and clear.
Yeah. And so did it work?
Yes. Over and over with me and other people. And at one point I saw...
And there's... okay, what I want to shine a light on here is anything about this illegal? Is anything about it unethical?
No.
So
isn't it unethical, though?
No.
He wasn't representing to you or your buyers that he owned all 6. He was just saying, I have 4 properties. I'm selling these to you. Here's what I'm marketing. But meanwhile, he also had 2 more that was part of his deal that he had with the seller. I love that.
Yeah, he did.
That's really smart.
He was still walking away with tens of thousands of dollars on top of getting a free house.
So he got a house that was free and clear. He got probably some money for equity out of the deal. It's pretty smart. We should probably get whoever that is on the podcast.
Yeah, it was good old DeMarcus.
Oh,
yeah.
snap.
I was about to say that.
At one point, I think he had like 12 houses he had free and clear from doing this process.
Wow.
And I was just like, and I sat there and I just was bewildered. I'm like, that is absolutely ingenious. Because he didn't shoot us wrong. You know, he's like, hey, here's what I got to offer. And the prices made sense for what he had. He negotiated that deal so well on the backside that it made sense.
Man. That's pretty impressive.
It is.
Yeah, it was good, and he was putting family in those properties, and you know, he was supplying homes for his family. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
But I feel like if I had to roll off of what Owen mentioned, I feel like when underwriting it, like if let's say you have like a 10 house package, like underwrite it for 6 or 8 or whatever the case is, make the numbers work to cash flow for 6 or 8. And then, like, you could sell out after that. Because I feel like if you get a mortgage for all 10 and then sell 2, but you have that was my question. Like, how are you going to make 8 houses pay for a mortgage that's supposed to be paid for by 10 houses?
Well, that's the trick. So you either buy it with hard money and then you take okay, let's do this. Let's say you have 100% of your let's say you have a package deal and it's 100%, and let's say the properties that you're going to peel off represent 20% of the value. Okay, follow me. So what's left is 80%, and then you could potentially refinance and get debt on the 80% at the market value, which hopefully you're buying at undervalue, right?
Right.
So that's the idea here. You recoup the 20% in cash. And now you have that. And if you have to refinance into commercial debt, let's say, you have 20% now.
Right.
And you can put it down if you needed to. But if you did it right, you should have more than that. So you wouldn't need to put all of it into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a great tactic. I'm glad you brought it up because I've seen it done numerous times. I've helped clients out do that numerous times, and it's a common tactic, and I love it. And if you guys are finding an off-market deal, this is something that you guys should be looking at because this is an opportunity for you to grow your portfolio with potentially no money down yourself. It's just the footwork to find a deal.
Amen. All right, that was today's Golden Nugget. All right, man. Should we get into today's podcast with Adam
Leutik? Shout out to Aaron Godbout, aka Lunatic, because I always get your guys' names mixed up. So,
Aaron,
See,
welcome to the studio.
It's Adam.
I have a question for you, Adam. So, in that you have a contracting background, right?
Yes, sir.
What do you think is the best bang for your buck for remodeling projects? So what components of remodeling a home or an apartment or whatever are going to make the biggest ROI?
So always kitchen and bath, and then flooring and paint. I mean, your simple stuff that you can get in, out, get done for a really cheap price. That'd always be, it's all visual. It's, nobody can tell that you replaced all the electrical or that, you did all ducting for the HVAC or this or that, and you can tell them about it, but it's all about visual. So it's who's coming to, where does everyone's property get seen first? Online.
Okay, let me respectfully disagree with you.
Okay.
Egress windows.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, where do you think that ranks in there?
That pretty high, because when you're doing egress, I mean, you're adding bathrooms, you're
making it legal
space.
for advertising reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, it puts you in a whole different class.
Mm-hmm.
So I always try to look at that before I look at. I agree with you with everything you said. But I think I personally think egress windows for the bang for the buck are rather. What do you think?
I hadn't that actually hadn't really occurred to me, but I 100% agree with you now that you say that, because I've had some flip houses that are so like in some subdivisions they'll just crank out a bunch of similar style like split level or slab type houses that they did in the post-war era. So maybe they're late 40s, 50s, 60s, right, when they had all the baby boomers coming back. They needed to provide housing, and a lot of builders just went into neighborhoods and were like, okay, let's just turn on the printing press with houses, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of them will have, the split levels will have 2 bedrooms on the upper level, and then in the basement they'll have a quote-unquote non-conforming bedroom and then a family room. You guys, anybody that's been investing for a while knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Assuming you have basements in your area.
Yeah.
Yes.
But here's what happens. So if you go to sell that house or even rent it, right, you list it, you're not legally supposed to advertise it as a 3-bedroom if one of the bedrooms is non-conforming or some combination thereof, right? And you throw an egress window in there, and now you can advertise it as a 3-bedroom. Guess what? You probably just grew your potential buyer pool by more than 50%.
I totally agree with that.
Because somebody's going to, if you're looking for a 3-bedroom house, you're going to set up a filter, or you're going to tell your agent, hey, don't send me anything that's not 3 bedrooms because I have, 3 kids or whatever the case may be. But I had a couple on here that I thought this would just be a fun exercise to revisit, because like contracting costs have really skyrocketed, but they're still important. And, people, everything's more expensive now. It's harder to turn a profit in flips. So you got to kind of like mind your P's and Q's when it comes to your budget, right?
I remember when you could get egress windows for like $1,500.
Yeah. So my price now that I'm typically getting, and I've done a few of these recently, is about $2,500.
Yeah, the number
is that about what you pay?
I was gonna say $3,000. Yeah.
It depends, like how much they have to dig out and all that. And how far below grade it is. And
it definitely matters on the quality of product you put in. If you're just putting a piece of tin in, it's gonna be a lot cheaper versus they have those rock wells that look like real rocks, and then they have a professional lid that holds it, or maybe they have an underground water system to prevent flooding into that. Yep. All that's additional, and now you're getting into the $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 range.
Which you start losing your ROI when you start doing the fancier stuff to it. So I think you get the biggest bang for your buck on just being able to call it a 3-bed versus a 2 or 4 versus a 3 or whatever, right?
For sure.
But I had a few others on here that I like to do. When I let's say you got to make some decisions, right? So like you've got a house and you're only able to buy it for X. You bought it, but you can't do the full HGTV, bling the whole thing out, and do somebody's going to walk in and be like, oh my God, I can't believe the salt shaker holders or whatever. You got to make choices. And if it comes down to it, a few of the kind of lesser expensive ones, I just had a note here to bring these up. Landscaping in particular, just adding mulch and flowers can just make such a huge impact when you're going to sell. And you got to time it right, especially here, because, if you put it out and then over the weekend you get 3 days of 105-degree heat, your flowers are probably going to die.
Yeah.
But I had that on.
Also the rentals.
I mean,
especially if you're doing a turn on it and you just want to appeal to some new renters.
Oh, for sure.
I bring my landscape guy out and I'm like, hey, just put some mulch and some flowers up front. I don't even care what it is. And then
pretty cheap, and it makes
a $600 investment, and that place stands out. Like every time BRRRR's coming on, I have them refresh all my Airbnbs immediately.
And
before
you're
they
getting a better class of tenant at that point.
Exactly. And what it does too is when they're walking up, they always talk about curb appeal, and people are like, oh, who cares curb appeal? Like once they get inside, it'll look nice.
It matters.
But it adjusts your mindset about the property you're about to view if everything looks great on the outside. Mm-hmm. So I think neglecting that is a mistake. It doesn't have to be that you just go like full on and hire a commercial hardscape company to come in and spend $20,000 on the landscaping. No, this is just like make your get in some fresh mulch, throw in some fresh flowers. That goes a long way. Do a couple other little blingy type things and makes a big difference.
I'm trying to sell some duplexes right now, and I just had this conversation with the owner the other day. And I'm like, hey, man, I go, your properties are really nice in the outside, but you are severely lacking street appeal. It's a brick building, but it's got, white trimming, and it doesn't look good. The decking is not in great condition up front. And it's right next to two brand new build apartment complexes.
So it makes it look even worse, right, by comparison.
I'm like, fix the deck, paint the trim, and, put some basic landscaping, just like you said. And I go, besides it making it better for sale, I go, because we're going to probably boot one tenant out just to get the show what the potential rents are and have showings, because it's so under-rented on some of the units. I was like, by doing this, it's going to change everything. So I think finally he trusts me, because it is street appeal.
It is. Yeah. It is. And that's I most definitely tell people all the time, just from the years of talking with realtors and things like this, what's selling, what's going on, where are you getting your quickest turn? And every single one of them have told me, your curb appeal, there's a lot that'll say it doesn't matter, but you get that better class. And like I said, most of your people, they're seeing a property the first time online, right? So if you've got a nice picture there, great curb appeal, your professional photos inside, you're going to attract that good tenant. You're going to attract that somebody who's looking for the nicer, maybe Class A, Class B, in maybe a Class C area. So that's always nice. I totally agree.
I have two other. You just reminded me of another one, but I have two other like kind of cheap but really very good ROI on these, and that is like when I'm doing a remodel. Whether it's, and generally this is for sale, right? So I always typically will splurge on about one or two light fixtures that are like really trendy and like kick-ass and like they make a statement, right? People come in and they notice lighting. They'll see, oh, wow, that's a really cool or really bold light fixture or whatever. It just kind of makes an impact. And you can put, your regular stuff in the bedrooms or whatever, or ceiling fans or whatever you're going to do. But I think light fixtures, if you kind of splurge on a couple of them, it goes a long way. And then another one I have is like, I think most people know this, but backsplashes in kitchens. Tile can be really expensive if you get the like glass mosaic or the like fancy schmancy stuff, but you're not talking about much in the way of square feet, right?
No.
So you may have like 40 square feet or something like that. And so you can spend $300 on tile, and it's going to make a wow factor when they come into the kitchen. It makes it just a huge difference.
My most recent Airbnb, I did exactly that. I splurged on a tile. I got this wavy white tile, and then on the top of each wave, it was gold. It was gold painted.
Oh, nice.
And I have all gold hardware in this house.
Right.
And
cool.
It's been like between the showcases and people standing there, everybody's like, I've never seen tile like that on the back. The tile itself for that small area was about $700. It was super expensive.
Yeah,
right.
And that without install. but it's been a statement piece in that property, and that's exactly what I wanted. I always tell people that I'm working with, and I'm going to list their properties that are doing flips. I'm like, have some one wow factor in there, so they're like, oh, that was the two-way. Mirror. That was a two-way. That was the place that had the bar. That's the place that had the pickleball court. That's the place that had the two-way fireplace from inside outside. Anything that you can give them that will make them remember that property. Because if you put something that's super unique in there, like your lighting, they'll remember that, and they'll like, oh, you remember that. They'll kind of name the house after that.
My favorite is the backlit vanity mirrors.
Oh, yeah, those
That-
are sick.
Oh, yeah, those are. Yeah, that is cool. Yeah.
And you can
Those
grab
just
them off
just started
Amazon
coming out.
for. I think I just saw one for like $120.
Yep.
And so nothing, $120 for a backlit vanity mirror.
Yeah, those are
and
cool.
It just elevates that property, I believe.
You know, the new hot thing right now is those showers that are like they're all metal, and then it has a digital readout and tells you the temperature and how long you've been in it, and it's all generated through the water flow.
Yep.
And I've seen them in a few properties lately, and then the Airbnb I stayed in St. Pete, Florida, Jerry and Mike Schlipper a couple weeks ago, they had it in there too, and Jessica, my wife's like, oh my gosh, I absolutely love that shower. And it was mainly because this one piece that was in there, and, and it's really sick because it's actually it has the multiple heads built into it.
Yep.
And then it's got some separate. I mean, I think it's got like 8 heads altogether.
Yeah.
And it's all digital, but it doesn't plug in
Yeah, no.
because the water flow is like a generator.
Yeah. That's where it grabs its power from.
Okay.
It's interesting. huh?
Interesting.
They're pretty cool.
So yeah, these are good ideas. I had a couple more here, and we can move on. But accent walls, if you have especially a higher end home, if you could do like a really well done accent walls, and then if you're in like kitchens, adding crown to cabinets is a nice little bling feature. To spruce it up.
Especially lighting underneath your cabinets.
Under cabinet lighting's another one.
The 40-inch cabinets. Going with the tall cabinets.
If you got a little bit extra money to splurge and you really want to put that wow factor, and I was looking at this, but it just was out of my budget. My last property, the underlit granite.
Yeah.
Oh, like the okay.
Yeah,
I guess I haven't
backlit
seen that
granite.
very much.
You don't. But if you have it, it stands out, and it's not granite. It's a different type of countertop that they use that's transparent, and they put the LED lighting into the countertop, and it glows it.
I seen someone did a waterfall edge with it and everything. It was beautiful.
Yeah, no, these are great. I like several of these I didn't really have in my head, but they make a lot of sense now that you talk about them. But yeah, I thought that'd be fun to bring up. Now, Adam, your background, you grew up. You just told us on the south side of the Windy City.
I was born on the south side, and then we moved to Bensonville, and that's a burb in the Chicago area. And then we moved out to a little town called Belvedere. I grew up right on the main drag, which was always nice. You know, you're a little kid, you can just run across the street to go grab the candy or a soda pop from the gas station. So that was always nice. But yeah, it was kind of a different transition, you know, going from big city, and then I thought I went to a small town, and I was like, yeah, my graduating class was only like 1,200 people. And, you know,
my town is 1,200 people.
Yeah, I get that same look. And, just difference from where, I was before that and things like that. And came through after that, spent pretty much the rest being raised in Belvedere. And then I actually went to school, went to Wyotech to be a body mechanic. Went and collision and refinishing is what I went for. Most definitely a car guy. Anything I can do around cars, racetracks, anything like that's my favorite.
Do you have any fun cars?
No, not right now. Not right now.
Got to work on that one.
Yeah. I got
3 kids kind of hamper that. Huh?
Yeah. I still got my motorcycle, so I still got my Harley, so I'll hold on to that.
Let's talk about the 3 kids thing, because I don't know if we've had anybody else on that has fostered children.
Yeah.
So you had no kids of your own.
Nope.
How did this all take place?
So it was me and my wife had been together for about 10 years at the time, and we were both on the same page, all in our 20s and everything. Neither of us wanted kids. We enjoyed our free time, everything like that. Well, then something happened to Mama's biological clock, and I started getting asked daily. So went through it. It took a little convincing, because I do like my own time and everything like that. And as a foster parent, I feel bad saying it, but I'm not the biggest fan of little kids. I'll admit it. But I got ADHD and just too much going on, and brain shuts down.
Most real estate investors have that issues. Don't worry about that.
But sit there, and she just, kept talking about it and kept going over it, and I can't help it. I'm a giant softie. My favorite thing to do in life is just help people. If somebody told me you could help 100 people this year, you could make $1 million, I'm going to go help 100 people. And that's just kind of how my mama raised me. I grew up with my mom looking at me and telling me show love every day. That's how we were woke up. So, got to it, and I was on the fence about it and everything like that. And she looks at me and she goes, tell you what, I get 3 kids, you get a brand new Harley. Deal. So went and picked out my brand new Harley.
Before you had the kids.
Before I had the kids.
Now, hang on a minute. She came right out of the gate with 3?
Now, so what had happened was,
because that's kind of a big leap.
So
Really big.
what it was is, so it was a kinship fostering. So, we knew about one, and it's my son. And he sit there and they're like, we don't got anywhere to go. This. They start doing the paperwork. Well, then all of a sudden we find out there's 4. We're like, oh, well, they're like, one's already been adopted, and then the other 2 are in foster care, and then the one's still with dad. And because they're adopted, I can now talk about this. Sit there. So, of course, I look at my wife and I'm like, we're going from 0 to 2 overnight. I got my Harley. I guess I really can't complain. So we sit there, and I was like, okay. So we start doing the paperwork, and we start going through the processes.
Is it like buying a car?
10 times worse.
Okay, I was just wondering.
10. Just every background check, every this, and I'm sure you've heard it a million times. Our system's broken. Our foster care system is horrible at best. And like a little stat, most people know this. There's 550,000 kids in the foster system at any given time. And it's a staggering number. And, with politics that have been changed and things like that, they're only seeing those numbers go up and up. So most definitely, as soon as I got all that, and I got my Harley, but as soon as I seen that, I couldn't say no. She knew how to get me. She was like, yeah, no, he's a softie. Watch this. So sit there, and it started out, well, we were just going to do 1. And then, well, okay, we'll just do 2. So I got my son Carson and my daughter Haley, and we had them for about 8 months. And then I get a call from Wyoming DHHS, and they tell me, hey, the other sister was just removed from custody. Would you like her too? Well,
I mean, how can you say, you can't say no.
Right. And, of course, it happened to be on a call that the kids were right there. So, we're saying no for sure.
And like, seriously? Did they hear this conversation?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're right there, of course.
And then what was their faces like?
What? Amaya's coming home? Yeah. Yep. That's what we're doing. Yeah, you guys got it. So we sit there, and graciously, we had another foster parent that we knew out in Wyoming, and she got placed with them. She stayed with them for about a month and a half. This is
just while you're figuring everything out.
And well, I sit there. I was like, I got to figure out how to make 960 square foot workout. For
I was gonna say, like that. You got to rearrange your life when you all of a sudden got to account for 3 additional occupants for whatever living situation you're in.
Yeah.
Huh.
And we sit there, and like my gift to them is, just being a contractor, is I made my kids their beds. Like it's all custom.
Oh, that's cool.
Woodwork, 6 drawers underneath it, and so I was sitting there. I was like, do I have time to make another bed, because that was kind of like their big present
Or
welcome home
room.
present. Yeah.
You're like, here's
doing
a
addition.
dad. Why or new dad? Why is the bed in the dining room? Don't ask questions.
Don't worry. There's a curtain. It's fine. But sit there. So then, so literally in a year's time went from 0 to 3, and I got 10. Next month 7 and 5. So
10, 7, and 5. That's our ages.
Yeah. Well, 6 and 4 right now, but next month my daughter's got birthdays.
Wow.
So 7 and 5.
So does the fourth one come over every once in a while?
No. So we actually, that was a whole different situation. Come to find out that had multiple different birth defects and things like that, and she's deaf, blind, and something else. And I just want to wait till the kids get a little bit older.
Yeah.
Is they know they have another sibling, and I've always been. That's one thing I'm really transparent with my kids. Kids are really smart, man. You know, we can think we pull the wool over their eyes, but I've seen the other side. I've seen the traumatized kids. I've seen the things that, you know, normally a kid wouldn't say to you, but these kids, they got no problem telling you. So it's a different one, but being able to just see that and be able to help with that and know I was part of that there's 3 people that they're going to have a life. They're going to have a childhood. They've been on vacation. First 2 years they were with us. My daughter Haley, almost every time we went and did something, this is the best day of my life.
That's awesome.
And it's so fulfilling. It's of course they're kids, so they drive us crazy, but it's at the end of the day, I just, you know, there's nothing that compares to it. Is just being able to know that I'm going to be able to change their life.
So how do you go from like working 24/7 because you're trying to get your business up and running, trying to get investing up and going, you know, like how is it that you go from this 24/7 lifestyle? You know, it's different when you're single or not single, but when being married with no kids is almost like being single in a way.
Yep.
And if you guys know what I mean, but like, how do you balance that now? Like what transitions did you have to make in your life and like to create that work-life balance with the family?
So I got me and the wife got really lucky. She has a job where she's able to work from home. After her interview today, hopefully not, but going through that is, I try to help out whenever I can. Being a business owner and things like that, I can make my own schedule. I can, and I let all my customers know.
It's the best and worst part.
Yeah, it is. So I don't miss one of my kids' games. I don't. That is a non-negotiable with me. I don't care what's going on. That is just absolute non-negotiable.
Unless there's 2 games at the same time.
Well, then mom's at one and I'm at the other.
Yes, we know that lifestyle.
But luckily we're down in a smaller school, so usually if somebody's got a game there, the other game's right there. So usually get pretty lucky with that. And then every night I have dinner with my kids. Every night I don't get multiple times I go back to work after dinner. Yeah. I will pull up in the driveway, I'll walk in the door, I'll sit down for a half hour, and I sit at the table and I have dinner with my kids. And I just talk to them, see how their day's going, see what's going on, talk to them about why mom had to text me 6 times that day, you know, those little things. And that, and then I always try to make sure I'm back home. We got a 8:00 bedtime for our kids. So I always
gives you and your wife some time.
Yeah. I always and me and the wife some time. That means me and her going down to my office and we're cold calling and we're doing books.
It doesn't matter. It's your guys' time.
Yeah.
There we go. So
Yeah.
we do the same thing during the school year. It's 8:00 too.
Yep.
And you know they go home. They go to bed. It's the only time I get with my wife pretty much in any given day is that hour and a half because she's in bed by 9:30 or 10. But
Same.
My wife and I have always had this rule, like from way early on, is we always eat together. Always.
Yeah.
It's non-negotiable.
Right.
And we never have electronics at the kitchen table. It is not allowed in my house.
Yeah, like us too.
So even if it's for a few minutes, and my kids call me out on it sometimes because like they'll be in the other room and I'll be like, I'm doing an email and I'll just sit down for a second. They'll be like, hey, Dad, you're not supposed to do it at the table. All right, fine. So I get up and sit at the the bar, and but I think and what's this is interesting because I have one daughter that's really social, so she has sleepovers, goes to sleepovers, all that, and we'll have kids that come over. And the reason I'm bringing this up is it's really telling the things that you instill in your kids when you see it, because you may not even realize it because it's just the way you do it, right?
Right.
And then you have someone else come in and they're like, "Wait, you guys eat together?" Yeah. Or like you eat together on real plates and you use real silverware, because we have like friends that just eat on like paper and like whatever.
I hear that all the time.
I'm like,
I know
what
exactly
are
where
you
going.
talking about? That is psycho. Like to me, because I don't know any better. You know what I mean? I'm just like, no electronics at the table. We're all eating together. We eat at 6 p.m. That's like the deal, right? And we try and talk, and we're not always great about it. I mean, nobody's perfect, but I mean, that's something we've been just diligent about ever since we've been together. And I think that goes a long way when you have a consistent time where you're sharing things, even if it's just food and you're not talking much. You're there, you're present. There's nothing distracting you other than your food.
We do exactly the same, and then we do a best part of our day to start the.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
That is nice.
I try. I think I attempted to work that in at some point. My kids are like, "Bro, what are you doing? This isn't our thing." So I think I was too late in adopting that. So the earlier you do those things, the more impactful it can be.
We used to do highs and lows, but the lows got very negative, and then the lows were like about the brother or sister, and like it's like, okay, what's just the best part of your day?
Yeah, no, I like that. So Adam, when did real estate enter the picture for you?
So I would have to say I'll go all the way back to probably 2010.
So wasn't the real estate meetup we met at?
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'd love to give you it, but so
He's like, I thought this was a rave. Where are all these nerds here?
But I sit there. I got back home and I was like, I got to do something, because got out of college and I was like, okay, time to go make money. Well, I started applying at every body shop and found out my recruiters lied to me. I know recruiters lie. What? But
that's hurtful. I used to be a recruiter.
But sit there, went out, and they were telling me, oh, you'll be able to make 50, 60, 70 grand a year, no problem. I walk into shops, they're like, 10, 12 bucks an hour work for you? No. So went and got a construction
With
job.
a degree.
Yeah, with a degree. Sit there.
I think that's different nowadays.
So went and started working construction, and I actually got started working for two guys that they were flipping houses. They taught me a lot of construction stuff. I had already learned a bunch. My dad was a local iron worker out of Chicago. He's built a lot of the Chicago skyline.
Was this in Chicago where this was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rockford. This was west side of Rockford. So what we were doing, they were buying HUD homes and, just vacant properties.
2008, 9, 10, somewhere around there.
This would have been 06, 07.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it was off a little bit. Yeah. So this would have been about like 06, 07. So got a job with them, and we did to where we were buying, like I said, vacant HUD homes, and they were 100+ year homes, old Victorian homes, and we'd come in and we'd gut them, and we were in and out in 3 to 5 weeks. They were full guts, came in, new electrical, new plumbing, came in, drywalled real quick.
Can you still do that right now?
Huh? Section 8 style, yeah. If you want them done Section 8 style, no problem. We did 1x trim on everything. Everything was cased out in 1x. All our baseboards was 1x4. All our windows and doors were cased out in 1x3. We refinished a lot of floors. We carpeted a lot of floors, but they had an electrician on staff. They had a plumber on staff, and then me and crews did the rest of it and got to the point where I was helping them running their crews and things like that, which a lot of the guys didn't like, because here I am, a 20-year-old kid going, yeah, he's in charge now. So that was always kind of interesting to go through.
So I'd like to kind of dig into the contracting and working a construction project topic a little bit. Why do you think you were able to do those so quickly? And I've done some Victorian homes where you're dealing with plaster and lath and like could be horsehair in the stucco, could be chicken wire, right? It's very labor intensive.
Horsehair?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No,
Yeah.
it's the first I ever heard of that.
You've never seen it?
No.
Yeah.
They put it in as a binder, so that the mortar, the stucco mortar, whatever you want to call it, cement, would hold together better. It's like a binder.
I've had every house I've ever flipped has had stucco, but I've never realized that or looked. So
yeah,
You break it apart and you can see it.
Hey, fun fact. Ted learned something new today.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, horsehair. Isn't that wild?
That's great.
Yeah. So they mix it right in with the mortar back then, and a lot of times they would either have chicken wire, and they would just do basically like, what do they call it, a scratch coat, and then finish it off, and then so plaster and lath is really dirty demo work.
Yeah.
So when you take a sledgehammer to a plaster and lath wall, typically you're gonna, they're generally pretty thick. It takes a lot of elbow grease, and then you've got the like lath, for those that don't know, is basically like a really thin piece of wood, and it's up the whole wall. And so basically you're spreading the concrete or the cement over it, and then it'll harden into what becomes plaster, right? So So why do you think you were able to get those done in 5 weeks? Because I couldn't get demo done in 5 weeks on a Victorian home.
So how we would do demo is, people laugh at me when I say it, but we were working in the hood. That's what it was. And I would get in my truck. I would go down till I seen 5-6 people walking down the street, and I would literally look at them. You guys want to make like at least $100 today? 5-6 of them jump in the back of my truck. I take them over to the house. They demo out the house, and they loved it because I gave them hammers, sledgehammers, pickaxes. I was like, "This is all what goes. This is what stays. Don't hurt the floors." And they're like, "Oh, okay." And I'd have big dumpsters sitting outside, and they'd demo an entire house in a day or two.
Yep.
And it was way cheaper for us because you could just sit there, and I wasn't 1099ing anybody. These guys got handed $100 cash at the end of the day, maybe $200 cash at the end of the day. And they would go in, and I'd have shovels, everything there ready. Me and another guy would sit there and help supervise and things like this. But we usually had like 4 or 5 of them going at one time.
We'll pay you $1 every time you bring a wheelbarrow load out.
My mind immediately goes to, because like I've been involved in a variety of legal challenges lately, and insurance and everything else. Like, so that's when
I didn't know better.
No. I get it. You said you were 19 or 20. I totally understand. I did similar stuff back in the day.
Yeah.
Just get like cheap labor, and don't worry about, do you have insurance or not? That's not even coming out of your mouth.
Yeah, now
right?
I'd have a heart attack.
Now it's like it's good, but it comes with some challenges. If somebody cuts their finger off or something like that, you could get a big lawsuit coming.
Huge.
And if they don't have, if whoever's running the crew doesn't have workman's comp, they don't have insurance or like any of that stuff, like it could be a whole mess.
And it depending on if you're not structured properly in your business, they then get to come after everything you have. Yep. Your personal, your businesses, your everything like this. So
I've been so tempted so many times with the guy in the corner. I will do anything. And I'm like, hey, you want to come clean out the house? Don't do that, because they're probably going to scam you, is what you're saying.
Now, I will say, I just did this last week, actually.
You picked up a guy in the
Not
corner.
a crackhead,
Nope.
but he was a dude that I got referred to, because there's a guy in my town where I live, and he's always pulling trees out. Like he's got some heavy equipment or whatever, but he's always got a guy doing work for him, and it's always like huge limbs that have like gotten storm damage and they've fallen, or whole trees he's uprooting, and I'm just like, my God, I'm sitting there in my head, I'm calculating, I'm like, my God, like he's pulled out probably 50 trees. This guy's like, what is he? I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like, this is insane. And I'm like, we had a really bad storm, and I had some major tree damage at several properties. And I'm like, I need a tree guy, because like mine ended up opening a butcher shop. Like the guy that I was using for years owns a butcher shop in Rockbrook, Casanovas. Yeah. Anyway, so I get referred to this guy. I call the guy that I'm talking about that's doing all this tree work. And I'm like, dude, do you have a guy you can tell me about that I could have do some work for me? Like, because I see you're doing tree. He's like, yeah, call this guy. Like, tell him my name and whatever. So I call him, and his name's Bart. And he's one of those guys where he finishes the job, and you have to be there in like 5 minutes to give him not a check, but cash. He's one of those guys.
My old guy.
And normally I'm like, hell no, I am not doing that. I don't have time to sit there and be on the hot seat on whenever you happen to call me and tell me you're done. Like, dude, I have this doesn't work for me.
Right.
However, he was like 1/5 of the price of what somebody would normally charge. So I'm like,
I'll meet you there.
Okay, I'll make an exception.
Yeah, I'll meet you there.
So the other day, I'm going to tell this quick funny story. So the other day, I have a property in the town I live in, Carter Lake, and that had a bunch of limbs fell down. A really big, probably 100-year-old tree, right? Yeah. Bunch of limbs fall down. One of them falls on a fence. Like the tenants are, like who's handling this? My property manager calls me. He's like, hey, do you want us to get bids or whatever? And I think they did, and they were like crazy high. And I'm like, hang on, let me get a guy. So I call Bart, and I'm like, hey man, can you go take a look at this? And he's like, yeah, I'll get all that done for $300. And I'm like, oh, okay, like all of what? And he's like, well, hauling all of that stuff out of the backyard, and I'm going to bring it to the curb. And if the city comes and gets it during trash day, great. If not, I'll charge you $200 to come and load it up. And there was a lot. I mean, these are big limbs. He had to cut it up and all that. And I'm like, yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah. So anyway, so he hauls it all out. It's on the curb. And then like, I get busy, and a few days go by, and the tenants call the property manager, and they're like, hey, there's still a whole bunch of crap on our curb. Like there's tree limbs and whatever. Is anybody handling this? And they call me, and I'm like, I'm sorry. We were just trying to see if they'd take it. So I'm like, I text Bart, and I'm like, hey man, can you go get that? The city didn't get it, whatever. And this was 4th of July week. So the trash was backed up one day, right? Mm-hmm. Long story longer, I'm like, go get the stuff. So he goes and gets, or I'm like, go haul this away. And he had told me $200. And so I'm off at an appointment in Fort Calhoun, which is, half hour away. And he's like calling me. He's like, hey, yeah, I showed up over here, and somebody already gotten the stuff and hauled it away, and it's all cleaned up. And I'm like, great. Like, why? Basically in my head, I'm like, oh, awesome. Why are you calling me? Like, and he's like, I already came over here. I was intent on bringing this out. You told me you're going to pay me $200. I had somebody else, a helper, come with an extra truck. So he's got equipment costs and fuel costs and whatever. And I'm like, I get it, man. Look, I'll give you $50 for showing up. Just, whatever. I'll tack it onto my next job. And he's like, well, do you have another job? And I'm like, no, like not right now, but like I will. Like, what are we doing here? And he's like, wouldn't let it go. And I'm like, listen, I'm not even around. I don't have time for this. I'm in Fort Calhoun. And he's like, oh, well, I have to go out to Ponca Hills, which is not that far away. He's like, right. I can meet you at the Alpine Inn. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, this is for $50. And of course I don't have $50 on me. I have $100. And so I meet him over there, and I'm like, dude, here, just take this. So I gave him $100 for literally doing nothing. He showed up, but he did show up. Anyway,
are you looking for a contractor?
Oh my God! It sounds like the mower inherited. I think I mentioned that.
What you don't pay for when you get someone cheap is all of the headaches that go with dealing with somebody that only accepts cash, because whatever they're trying to do, dodge taxes is generally the idea here, right?
Yeah.
But it's just, like there's always a trade-off.
Oh, yeah.
You get a GC that's got all their shit together and buttoned up, you're going to pay through the nose for it, but you're not going to have any phone calls. They're going to handle all of your stuff.
Right.
And you have a 30-day billing.
Yeah, and exactly. And you got float, right? But if you want to GC something and get all the subs, and you're going to have to deal with managing schedules and the electrician didn't show up, so now the next trade can't do their work or whatever, right?
Right.
So there's always trade-offs, and then the further down you go with it's the more hand-holding, the more headaches, and the more scheduling challenges and all that. So you get what you pay for, generally.
For sure.
And you can't write off if you pay somebody cash. I mean, I suppose you can, but it's not like you're going to 1099 somebody that's like, I need $100 today. Like, I can't tack it on to the next job. I'm like, Jesus, man, you're older than I am. Like, get your shit together. You're like 60 years old. You can't go one day. You run a company. You don't have $50.
Yeah, well.
I literally talked about this in the podcast, I think a week or two ago. I had that lawnmower guy, and I inherited the guy with the property. And then it's like, oh, I need my cash. And like, he'd mow and like want to get paid that day for mowing. And I'm like, dude, and I talked to him. I was like, hey, man, I got a 30-day float with my other guy. I'm hooking you up. And originally it was fine, and then it ended immediately. And he's like, where are you? I'll come to you. And then it was like, hey, my truck broke down.
I hate that. I hate it.
My truck broke down in your driveway. I need to get paid today. Or, I'm going to do this. And then at the end of it, whichever I disclosed, but at the end of it, I gave him he had a landscaping job. He needed the money for the mulch and other things. So I gave him like $500.
Yeah.
So he didn't finish the job. He didn't finish the mowing and stole my mower.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, in the end, I'm like, you know what? I felt like obligated to use this guy because he came with the property.
Right.
It wasn't my team. And in the end, it really wasn't cheaper. And it was a pain in my butt.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that was worth it just to make him go away.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's kind of like my real estate journey. That's how it went. As I started by myself, just doing like most I'm sure do, is go in and let's see what we can find on the internet. What can I find on YouTube? And then I was watching somebody and they just told me, invest in yourself. It'll come back. And I don't know what it was. I was watching Facebook one day. I found my mentor just on a whim.
Was it Ted?
No. No.
You did see one of my few presentations I've ever given, and so I figured that you got something out of that.
Actually, that mentorship's the reason I joined the REIA. They sit there and they're like, you got to get interactive.
That's a group that you're part of, right?
Yeah. We're the BRRRR Invest Academy. The guy in charge of it's Nate Barger and Jarius Drar. Just absolutely changed my life. Just in not just kind of what I know and how I look at things, but my mindset on everything.
So BRRRR Invest Academy, BRRRR.
Yep.
You were all about this when I met you. Like I first met you
I love BRRRR.
at the Cass County REIA meetup.
Yeah.
I was doing a presentation there, embarrassing myself. And you were like on cloud 9 about this group.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and you're
And
still
still
there.
am.
Yeah.
Still am. It's a family. And it's funny. We call each other family. These people I look forward to seeing every single time. I got something going on in my life. I have called these people. Always the support and everything like that. Like,
Well, that's how you know you're in the right group.
Yeah.
Is now okay? So is it like a paid mastermind type group?
Yeah,
Okay.
kind of. So like when I got in it, like I'll tell new members what I paid when I got in it because they had just started it, and they're like, "Add a zero." What? Oh, well, my bad. But so yeah, I got into it, and it's amazing. We're like 4 to 5 coaching calls a week. We got a Facebook group that I would put up against any group of people out there when it comes to real estate. We've got someone who specializes in absolutely anything, if not 5 people that specialize in it. So I really enjoy it, and it really has turned into a family. Like my mentor Nate is this last time I went out to Ohio for a conference. He invited me with all his city presidents to his personal home. And I went and hung out with them all night, got to go tour his garage, look at his Lambos, his Ferraris, all those, see how the other half lives and sit there and just go through it. And he's still just the most, has all these things, has hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate, and just one of the most authentic, caring people I've ever made. He just sent himself what we call a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal. And he wants to make 10 million millionaires by the time he dies.
10 million millionaires.
10 million millionaires by the time he dies.
That's an audacious goal.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's a big one. But I mean, when you're BRRRRing hotels and resorts and things like that, where do you go from there? And so they had started theirs, and
It'd be easier to make 10 people 10 millionaires, but
10 million people millionaires.
Holy shit!
It's his.
I mean, Steve Trang was saying on you listen to his podcast ever? No. He's like, I want to make 100 people millionaires. That's his whole thing for starting his podcast. Yeah,
but not 10 million.
Yeah.
And I forgive my skepticism, but there's zero chance of that happening.
Oh, well, yeah. But just that's kind of the mindset we all take, is set that goal.
Sure.
Set it. Why not fight for it? Why not go for it?
Okay, so you joined this group.
Yep.
Got a trial by fire in real estate investing.
Mm-hmm.
What was your first deal?
First deal I actually bought from my brother. Was a property out in Chicago that I'm still fighting on. So that's a fun one. It was a burn house. We got it for 10.
10 million?
10,000.
My first property was 10,000.
And we sit there, and I was 30 days late on pulling permit for fixing it. So now it's a whole new process. I get to go through. We're going to do a new build on it, and it's right on the south side of Chicago. It is literally one block out of Cook County, though, so way cheaper taxes, way everything like that. So what we're going to do with that one is we're going to build that up and then go on that. But the other ones that are going...
But for your first one, though, this has obviously been a lesson because you haven't finished it yet.
Oh, yeah. No, still haven't done it. Yeah, still not finished.
And how's the city permits in Chicago versus
so
local?
Much fun.
Was it
worse? Yeah,
worse than...
Worse. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because Omaha got rated in the top 3 worst permits in the country. Oh. And it even ranked higher than California states.
What?
Yeah, there was a...
When was this? And where?
I'll have to find the article and send it to you. This was about 6 months ago. There was an article that went out about the worst permit. I think it was at National REIA put it out. And really? Omaha came up in the top 3 for worst. Actually, GrowOmaha.com put it out there. Yeah, we ranked
Jeff Beals
group. Yep, that we ranked higher. We're in the top 3 for the whole process. It wasn't just like getting the permits. It was like dealing with the inspectors, the process.
Okay.
It was
There's a comprehensive rating scale.
They don't have
like
enough inspectors out this way. Most definitely.
If you find it, send it to me. I'm really interested to read that article, and I don't disagree. I remember listening to like Indar Lang about Hawaii and some California stuff that takes like 6 months to even get a permit.
I've been waiting 8 months.
Yeah,
I've been waiting 8 months for my permits.
Yeah, we were just at the Real Luncheon today, you and I, and at that, Andrea Foley's like, we have this car wash program that we're doing, which I think you're an investor in, right? Mm-hmm. And in that, she said that it's taken a year just for the permits to get done.
Yeah, why? What possible good reason is there?
There can't be
for a freaking piece of paper to stamp. Like you either have what you don't, or you either have what you need, or you don't have what you need. And if you don't have it, give the person applying for the permit a list of what you need, and once you get it, stamp it. What is the holdup? I don't understand.
You're holding back growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, soapbox. I'll get down. But Okay, so first deal was a burn, and
Burn
it sounds
house.
like you're a burn victim now
Yes,
because you
yes.
haven't finished the project
Still
yet.
I'm a burn victim too, so don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't buy fire houses.
Unless you have a public adjuster and can get the insurance transfer.
I had a public adjuster that came with the property in a burn house and still dealing with it.
Fun.
I would, okay, tell me if you guys disagree, but I would rather buy a vacant piece of land than deal with trying to put back together something that was completely burned.
I don't. I mean, it depends on the quality
Yeah.
of burn.
and situation.
But okay, now I'm going to devil's advocate this. So when you have a house that was burned, and a lot of the this may age badly, but a lot of the fires of these type of homes end up in the midtown, downtown area. They're typically houses that were pre-war, post-war era. So we're talking maybe older wiring, maybe they have like a whole bunch of materials that aren't now, up to code
Which
and all that.
I'm dealing with on my 4-unit burn house.
So
But
then
if
you
you
have
have-
environmental issues with the land that you have. So maybe there's a shell of a house, maybe it had asbestos, maybe it had lead-based paint, maybe it had all these environmental, right?
Right.
Where my counter to that is you're now, if you're going to rebuild something that had a footprint that back in the day made sense for a family that was like 800 square feet and it housed 4 people, like
Go up.
yeah, so you can go up, sure, but wouldn't it be easier just to run utilities and then do whatever type of floor plan you want?
Permitting. It all goes back to permitting. I can get that permitting to go up way faster than I get a new construction permit.
Is that right? Okay.
And on my side, it all comes down to also insurance money.
Yeah.
Maybe the insurance isn't going to provide a new build, but if I
Well, sure, yeah, no, they won't.
But my specific property that I bought that's a burn, 1 unit's completely toasted, the other 3 are fine.
Yeah.
And so I can just remodel 1 unit, but because of the age that you brought up, I had to put new plumbing in, new electrical boxes in, and a few other things. But yes, so
my mentor literally is going through that same thing right now. It's a 4-unit. He's making $180,000 on the insurance because he has the right insurance. So they're replacing to new code, right? He had brought a public adjuster in. He owns the construction company, so he's getting paid on that side. He owns every other part of it and brought in a public adjuster, and literally that public adjuster took that insurance to the wash. And so he's getting the entire project done for 43, I think is going to be his end total. He got over 300 from the insurance, and then 10%
Dollars?
goes, 300,000 from the insurance. And then of course 10% goes to the public adjuster, but all the rest is in his pocket.
So I'm dealing with the exact
Tax
same
free.
issue, and I broke this down in 2 podcasts ago, pretty in depth. But the short of it is that there's a public adjuster involved. They originally were like bidding $15,000 or $18,000 on this, but the construction company is like $300,000. And my business partner on this one has
Wait,
a construction.
what? Hang on. The adjuster was bidding $15,000 to $18,000.
The insurance company payout was like $15,000 or $18,000 up front.
Okay.
But it was just the clean out of the unit was over 40.
Oh yeah.
And so adjusters came in, and the adjuster company talking to Kyle Maring with Premier Claims, and he's like, yeah, they just want to string you along as long as possible,
Yeah.
in hopes that you because you can't I can't even work on a unit.
Now, did you have insurance for lost rent?
So
your
but
lease
so
still
I
going?
didn't own the property then, so the lost rent payment was already out. This claim is now 2 years old.
Ooh.
And it's still and the just for full transparency, the public adjuster didn't get involved about a year ago.
Okay.
So he hired the previous owner hired a private attorney to take it, couldn't get it done. Hired a public adjuster to move it forward, but this now happened almost 2 years ago, and the claim is still going. And it's just been a nightmare.
Now, I don't know about local laws. Check that. I don't know about here. When I went to go pull my permitting for my Chicago property, I had 18 months from the day of the fire to pull permits.
Yeah, we're not
Or they
even
wouldn't even let
settled.
Well, the city didn't care. The city didn't care what was going on, anything like that. They said if there are not permits pulled for this to be fixed within 18 months, you cannot get a permit.
We'll have to talk to my partner about this because that has not come up at all, and I don't know that law at all. So
Yeah. Like I said, state to state. But
everything's different out there. Gosh, check with your local.
Yeah, right. Okay, so first deal was a fire sale.
Yep.
What happened after that in your investing career?
Sit there and then went and got property down in Tennessee, and that was land that
What? Like what?
got it for a deal. Deal's a deal.
You
It don't
bought
matter where
land
it
in
is.
Tennessee?
I mean, deal's a deal. Don't matter where it is.
Okay, all right.
So got 4.5 acres, about a mile out of a state park down there, right in between Memphis and Nashville.
Good area.
So yeah. So what we're gonna try to do there is trying to get funding, kind of like a glamping thing, is what we're going for. That
Are you doing that
there.
partners then?
No, that one's all by myself on that one.
Wow.
And then the next one is we're bought 2 vacant lots, and that one I'm working on partners with. That we're working on getting funding right now, just trying to find something we like that we can make money off of.
So if I'm
ground up.
if I'm understanding this right, you have a lot of money going out and no money coming in from
Yes, sir.
from this so far.
Yeah, well, on my real estate side, I got my construction company.
Well, I understand that. I'm talking about your investment business.
Yes, no, on my investment business, yeah, no, but delayed gratification. I'm not spending money right now to make money right now. I'm spending money right now so that in 5-10 years, me and my wife don't have to work anymore. I'll be doing what I want to, and I enjoy the running jobs. I enjoy finding properties. I enjoy that side of it. So that's not going to be work to me.
Well, this is your 401k.
Yeah. Yeah. I got a lot of money going out. I'm bleeding a little bit right now, but it'll be okay. There's a plan. There's an end in sight, and just keeping a positive attitude about it.
Now, before we hit record, you had mentioned that you have aligned your contracting business or your construction business to work with investors primarily. Is that true?
Yep.
What do you think let's say somebody tuning into this is a real estate investor and they're looking for a contractor. Mm-hmm. Could you maybe take a stab at talking through what a good contractor investor relationship looks like, and maybe how do you go about finding one? How do you keep one? Mm-hmm. How do you make sure the relationship is a win-win?
Okay.
Can you kind of like dig into that a little bit?
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you right now, if it's a new truck and there's nice signage on the side of it, I ain't hiring you. You're too expensive. I can't afford you. You're meant for...
No, wait. If you're an investor, you're saying that.
Yeah, if you're an investor. Now,
Right.
if you're a homeowner, things like that, those guys got all the overhead. How much overhead do those guys have? They got to pay for the truck, the brand new truck. They got to pay for all the signage. They're paying for all the marketing. They're paying to have the whole team in the office, everything like that. So they have to charge more. You got the little guy that's just got a 1-ton van, or, hey, this contractor that pulled up in a 05 Chevy diesel. You know,
I heard your diesel out there.
Am I expensive as everybody else? No, I do it for a lot cheaper than some other people, but I'm working for investors because I know 12 months out of the year I have work, and I know it's not going to stop. And that's kind of the trade-off you get. It's, do you want to have to hunt for all of your work and be out there in the grind every single day, marketing, doing your own thing, you know, trying to find your own customers? Or do you work with investors? You find 1, 2, 3 investors to work with, and you don't have to worry about finding work anymore.
Being an investor yourself, though, are you able to relate with these investor clients a little bit more and make potential relationships?
Yeah. Well, and I usually it just comes with the fact, like, I'm telling you right now, you're not going to get it for that. And they're like, well, no, I think I can't. No, you can't. You got to think of it this way: between these materials and this, and how many hours it takes me, I'm working for you for like $26 an hour. What contractor do you know is going to come out and work for $26 an hour if they own their own thing? You know, like I said, if you're a laborer or something like that, yeah, that'd be some pretty good cash. But me as a business owner, I usually won't leave my door for that. But like I said, I've got continued work all year, and maybe I might get shorted on this, but I'm going to make it up on this, or I'm going to have this job that I'm going to do this on. That'll get a little extra, and I do my GC, so I get my GC fee off of it, and I make it over on that.
One thing, I don't want to like glaze over it, but you mentioned glamping.
Yeah.
As one of your investments.
Yeah.
And I mean, I really like to dig a little bit in that before we conclude today.
Okay.
And tell me what your goals are, what kind of numbers you're looking to get. Like, how have you broken this down already?
So how we're looking at it is there's not really much around it for me to compare to. It's a small town. There isn't much for me to kind of.
So it can be like an RV park?
So, well, no, what I want to do is come in and I want to do, I can't think of the name of them right now. The dome hut things or whatever.
Okay.
We want to do them because what I can do is come in, pour pads.
Yeah.
And then it's not a permanent structure. I don't got a permanent.
Now, will you eventually add
now
RV
there is
hookups?
one thing. Well, what I want to do is, there's going to be how it's planned right now. It's going to be 8 huts and then 5 RV spots.
Full hookup?
Full hookup. Yep. So we've already got electrical into the property. We've already sit there and cleared most of the space we want for it. It was my idea to kind of help my parents. So 5-6 years ago, my dad got prostate cancer and beat it. He was going to go back to work, and he just looked. My father's been a workaholic my entire life, and he looks at my mom and tells her, "Tell the girls I'm retiring." She laughed at him, went and made his lunch. He asked her the next day, "So what'd the girls say?" And she was like, "Wait, you were serious?" And he retired, and we helped him get an RV, and they've been traveling the country ever since he retired. So that's been awesome for them.
The minute my kids are out of the house, I'm going to do the same thing.
You're going to retire?
No, but I will. I'll definitely be taking like whole summers to go traveling.
So you got what? Let's fact check this here. So you've got about 11 years? How old's Carson now?
Carson is going to be 11 by next month.
Okay, so you're going
to 7.
Yeah, so she's 7. Yeah, so about 11 years.
Yeah, and I mean we're
11, 12 years.
We went camping last weekend. We're going camping this weekend. Yeah. You know, I mean,
is your family as on board with camping as you are?
Yeah, Jessica's super excited about getting an RV and just traveling around the country.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm
it's a good time.
100% on that train.
It's a good time.
And I'm actually very excited about that. I want my portfolio to be able to sustain my life, so I can just take like 2 or 3 months, just travel around the country, see the country, and then maybe even my hairdresser rented an RV and traveled around Ireland for a month.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And she's done it twice in 1 year.
I probably would too.
I love that you call it your hairdresser. Yes. Like what is this, Mad Men? Like,
she's a hairdresser.
How old are you?
Younger than you, but she's a hairdresser.
Are you? I don't know, man.
Should I call her a
hairdresser?
A salon stylist.
Okay.
And anyway, I think that's really interesting because that's something I would love to do in the future, is having an RV area, but the glamping is kind of interesting. And you ran numbers on this so far, I'm assuming.
So what we're looking to do is after cost and everything, with the spots, it's going to clear like probably about $2,000 a month is what I'm hoping. Between I've already paid the property off, so I don't have any costs there.
What was your what's your all in on it?
Right now I'm 18.5.
18,500.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have a tendency to leave off a lot of zeros when you're describing things. I don't know if you're talking a million, 1,000, 100.
18.5 is really, really cheap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So got that, went in there, got it clear cut. We've got electrical back to it. I'm working with one of my cousin's friends. We're trying to get all the septic put in there, get the septic field put in, because after that, then it's pretty much go on that property.
I'd love to see your numbers at the end for doing those 5 spots. So
yeah, well, and so it'll be a concrete pad, And then we found somebody that custom makes the like glamping hut things, and I think it was like $2,500 a piece for those. I wanted to say it was right around there. I don't got my numbers right.
So these are just basically
It's
like
a
things
tent.
to cover you,
It's
like
a glorified
kind of a
tent.
more or less a permanent tent.
Yeah.
With
like
lights.
semi-permanent.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you're gonna have I'm assuming a community shower,
And
toilet
then,
area.
Yep. So we're gonna do like a shower house kind of deal, kind of like an RV park would. We'll do a shower house, and then, like I said, we're gonna do multiple RV hookups because, I want somewhere in there for my parents to go. Honestly, that's why I'm doing the RV hookups.
I would love to know what's your cost per RV hookup in the end. Like the pad, the electrical, the plumbing.
So we're
water.
not even doing concrete pad for those. Like that's just going to be a rock pad, and then probably
Is that just for now? Because as a person that has one,
yeah.
and goes camping a lot,
Yeah.
it really sucks to go to a place that has a gravel spot for leveling.
Well, so the reason I'm just sticking with gravel right now is just to get under cost.
I will take full hookup over a gravel pad or over a concrete pad any day, just for disclosure.
Well, and like I said,
And
now,
you said you're full
We
hookup.
are doing. Yeah, we're going to do water, electric,
which would make me come there just because you're full hookup.
Right. And I'm planning it out because now looking back at my parents have been on the road for a while now and had their RV. I know there's different hookups now you can get. There's the 15 amp, there's the 30 amp hookup.
There's
you
a
can
50
do.
amp.
There's a 50 amp.
So I always go 50 amp because I have an electric truck.
Yeah.
So I hook up my camper, and then I plug in my because there's always two plugs when you do the 50 amp service.
Yep.
So the 50 amp goes to my camper, and I think it's the 30 amp I hook up to my truck to charge.
Yep, and that's what we're planning on doing there with all those is given every station's going to have the 50 amp hookup. You're going to have sewage and water supply right there.
So I love this, but just know that budget for those pads, because when it comes to leveling on the gravel, because the gravel gets worn down, it becomes a nightmare because you got to get it level with the septic tanks in there to be able to drain properly.
Yep. So luckily, been talking with my dad about it, and he wants to kind of turn it into one of his little pet projects once I get done with it. And gonna sit there. I'm not just gonna go in with 4 inches of gravel. I'm gonna go in 12 inches of gravel. I'm gonna do crusher run. I'm gonna do road ready gravel. We're gonna tamp it down because we're gonna have big heavy RVs on this. So I want to be able to have that pad there, and then the pad will be there. And then when I'm ready to do concrete or blacktop or whatever I want to do, stone's already there.
And when you're done with this, I want to know your final numbers because this is something I would like to look into in the future. So
Camping nerds. Excuse me. Okay. Well, that was fun. Why would you buy? I have to ask this devil's advocate question totally, but okay, so you bought a piece of land for 18.5. It was 4 acres.
I bought the land for 12.
12 grand.
Yeah, I'm
okay.
18.5 into it total. With
So
the
12
leveling,
million.
The electrical, 1,000.
Okay. So 12K. You bought the land for, and it was, you said 4-ish acres.
4.5.
4.5. Okay.
4.5.
Why not do that closer to home? Isn't this going to be really difficult to manage from so far away?
So
Memphis and Nashville in the middle of that, that would seem like a nightmare to me.
Friends and family around the country. My aunt lives 20 minutes away from it. And
does she know that she's signing up for this?
I kind of cleared it for her.
Yeah, I'm sure I have a relative there too. They have no idea I'm going to be starting a campground.
Oh, by the way, can you go fix that clogged toilet over there?
But you see my point.
I've got
right?
a lot of family.
Let's say it cost you, instead of 18 or 12,000, it cost you 50, but you don't have the pain in the ass factor of operating new build or on a campground for halfway across the country. Mm-hmm. Is that?
I mean, as long as you got your system set up.
Okay.
That was one thing my mentorships taught me is it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what you're doing, how you're going. As long as you can set up your processes, you go out there. Yeah, I had to go out a couple times and get things taken care of. But for the most part, I've been there, I think, 3 times to the property. and everything else has been going good.
Cool. What was
I was just
that?
I was just flipping off Denless.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good. Here, I'll do it too.
Yeah.
It's a sea of.
All right, man. This has been super interesting. We haven't had a contractor / investor on in a while, and you've done some way different stuff than anybody we've really had on. With
Yeah, Chris Coleman's last, contractor I can remember having on, but he also his investment portfolio was very minute, so he was selling off everything he had. But honestly, he was actually one of our top 10 most listened to podcasts out there.
yeah.
So who knows?
So what's next for Adam Leutik?
What's next? Just keep building my portfolio. Finding deals. That's my main focus right now is find deals, and then
And
once
three
What-
more,
what
and
kind
three-
of
three or
deals?
four- and 3 or 4 more kids.
no.
Yeah. So anyone looking for a place for some kids, don't go to the fire station. Go to Adam's house.
Just go come right on.
Hey,
down.
my new neighbor has 9 girls, so if they can do it, you can't do
Oh
it.
my god.
No, thank you. What? So yeah, I'm just thinking like you've done. So anybody listening to this that lives really anywhere in the world, it sounds like you'll
A deal's a
if it's
deal, man. A
Okay.
deal's a deal.
I do like that mentality that you have.
So what? All right. What about your contracting business? So you mentioned you work with investors.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah.
Are you looking for more, or are they keeping you busy enough where you're
busy.
good?
I'm pretty busy.
Okay.
About a month and a half out right
So
now.
you pay your bills with the income from your construction business, and then
Yes,
you
sir.
plow that into land and other development type deals.
Well,
Is that fair to
and
say?
the land was just it kind of fell. All those deals pretty much fell in my lap. I really want the single family, the multifamily. Is where I'm headed to. These deals were brought pretty easy. I didn't have to do a bunch of work. Like I said, just kind of fell in my lap on these ones. So that's how I've been going with those. But yes, no, I'm most definitely for going forward. I've been marketing and trying to find deals in and around Omaha, Kansas City.
What are you looking for?
So right now, single family is what I'm focused on the most. Is single family homes or 1 to 4 units.
Okay.
So
Any price range?
any price range, yeah. Like I said, a deal's a deal.
So a $3 million house, you're fine with that?
And I got private money.
Okay.
Let's go.
Got it.
So does Owen.
I'm totally giving you a hard time. I'm sorry. I'm coming across as a total douche, but that's what I do.
That's
That's kind of my
if-
shtick.
Once the house is 3, he's good. It doesn't have to be 3,000, 3 million. It's anything.
3 million.
Just 3.
It's fine. Let's go.
So in all of your years of being involved with investment real estate, being an investor, being a contractor, have you ever run across any crazy, weird investment stories?
Yeah, I mean the crazy things I found in walls.
Like what have you
Like
found
what?
on walls?
The voodoo doll was the worst.
Voodoo dolls?
Oh man, it was bad. It was bad. I was freaked out. I was like, yep, no, I'm gone. Bye. Yep,
Is that,
get that
is
cleaned
that
up, guys.
plastered into the wall?
Yeah, it was behind plaster, so it had been in there for a minute. But yeah,
Oh, somebody didn't like that person, and they put that voodoo doll under the
Something.
yeah,
Did it look like you? That would be really trippy.
Oh.
Did it have a red beard?
Nope. I'm gone. See, no, I believe in ghosts and stuff, man. Nope, I'm out.
I had it was a duplex, and then it turned to a single family.
Yeah.
And my contractor was renovating, and he's like, yeah, in the walls I found like a whole bunch of German money, a German Luger, and it was just like Nazi stuff.
And their favorite picture of Hitler? I mean,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean, I know this picture, but that's the type of stuff he found inside the wall
Yeah.
of the duplex. Mm-hmm. And then while he was there doing the renovation, some gangbangers showed up, while the renovation was happening, because the tenant that was on the top unit actually got murdered in the backyard.
Oh, nice.
Years and years prior.
Real nice
It's that
area.
24th Street house I sold, and the gangbangers were got really aggressive with my contracting crew, and like, hey, what did you find in the walls? and they're like, well, we found this, and this, and no, but they were looking for drugs and money.
Oh.
Because there was a drug dealer that lived upstairs that was stealing money from them, and then they dragged him out of the place and then put a bullet in his head in the backyard.
Like I said, I'm from Chicago. Stay strapped or get clapped. So, like, it's. I mean, and
that might be your new nickname now.
It's yeah. I've had to do it. It's anytime I walk houses, anything like that. Yeah.
Did you find something in the walls? Did you got something to add to that?
Yeah, well, okay, not as interesting as what you're talking about, but like, I wanted to bring this up because I've flipped several houses that they have the old timey like medicine cabinets that are sunk back into the wall, right?
Yeah.
Like a razor
The
blade.
razor blade
Yeah, the
deal.
razor
Like
blades. Yeah.
I remember the first. I didn't even know this was a thing. Nobody ever was like, "Oh, hey, by the way, if you ever renovate a house from the 40s, 50s, 60s, you may find this."
Yeah.
Like no, that doesn't exist. Nobody's like, you know what I mean? Unless you're searching specifically for that on YouTube or whatever.
Right.
So we demo this wall or whatever, and there's like hundreds of razor blades in this like wall cavity. You know what I mean? We demo the drywall or the plaster or lath or whatever. And I'm just like, what the what is going on? Why are these razor blades here? And then of course I learned, the deal on that. But I've voodoo doll. Like what that's
Yeah, like I said, and it wasn't from recently. It was old.
Did you keep it?
No, hell no.
I had a buddy that found a shrunken head in a like wall cavity, like
A
you know what I'm
real
talking
head?
Yeah, like a real shrunken head from Africa or whatever. I'm sure it wasn't
Who was
labeled.
this?
You don't
Okay.
know. It was one of my off book or
Okay.
off market friends.
Private money.
Yeah.
No, have you guys ever left anything in walls? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love leaving stuff in cavities.
Wouldn't it be great to leave like a fake skull in there or something like that, or like a full skeleton, like a fake one?
Put your business card in mouth and say, haha.
I've sit there and I've done it. Is the dead cavity in like corner cabinets? Like you didn't have room there for this or that. Yeah, throw a skeleton in there or something. Yeah, it's great. It's amazing.
I've been doing anything that exciting. I've always put like a business card or something in there because I always thought it'd be kind of cool if somebody found it and like, oh, this person did the renovation on it.
Yeah.
But the one thing our very first house that my wife and I had, I took Jessica to go meet Hacksaw Jim Duggan, WWE guy.
Oh yeah.
and you had to take a 2x4 in with them to get him to sign it, right? So I was working for Omaha Nightlife at the time. We took the
You were so weird, man.
we took the 2x4. I got this great photo with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Jessica's like, who the hell is this guy? He's like 8 years younger than me. So he signs it, puts our names on it and so on. So the first house we had an exorbitant at, when we were framing out some stuff in the basement, I actually put that 2x4 in to support the TV mount by the wall.
I often sit there and wonder, how are you married? Like, how did this happen? I feel like it's just a slow drip of your actual personality and what you're all about over a long period of time. Because wow, man.
So I the neighbor's house flooded, and she stayed in my Airbnb for a while.
Yeah.
And and it's like, again, a neighbor from 12 plus years ago, and I was over there checking out her house as it was getting done, and the new neighbor was out, and we get talking. I'm like, well, this is my old house. And I go, by chance, did you see the Hacksaw Jim Duggan 2x4? He's like, is that what that is? Because it's like
hell,
framed
man?
into the framework of the.
I just sounds right. I mean, sounds
Tracks.
like
Everything
a 10.
tracks.
All right. Well, we're getting to the end of our podcast here, and we have a couple sections that we're going to dive into. The first one being the
Failing forward.
Man, you're getting pitchy, dog. I just got to say. I feel like we need
Pitchy?
to. I feel like we need to re-implement the pre-recorded because I feel like we're just really off.
You don't think it was
No,
the harmony
no,
was there.
no. No.
Really
No.
forward.
You're overpowering me with your whatever you're doing.
Anyway,
Anyway,
amazingness.
okay, so Adam,
Like Fergie and Jesus.
He's overpowering you with his girth.
so
all of his girth.
yeah, his girthiness. Adam, not Aaron. What's something that's happened in your business or life that didn't go according to plan, and you learned something along the way?
So I had a really expensive lesson that I did. I had a buddy that
Your
when
voice
I was
got
doing
Really
So like-
deep.
You're like Heisenberg.
I'm hair standing up, everything.
Oh man, that didn't happen at the
It's
video.
a $30,000 hit. That's why the hair standing up. Had a buddy who really liked what I was doing. He's like, "Hey, show me how to do it." Took over. He was like, "Let me do one by myself." Okay, here's everything you got to do. Do this.
Do what?
Yeah, what
The
are we
kind-
talking about?
We were doing flips. I was doing flips for a guy, and we were doing Section 8. We were flipping them. He was holding them. He was renting them out Section 8. Well, we do this whole flip, and he's like, "Hey, let me do one." I was like, "All right, you've seen how to do it. This is the steps. Here's the contract. Go get the contract signed. Go get everything done. Woo, 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 woo." We get the house done because he told me he was ready to go. I should have double checked. Always double check.
And both your names are on it.
Huh?
And both your names are on the work.
Yeah. Yep. So I sit there and I go in. Now, this is a guy, like I said, I'm flipping 4 or 5 houses every couple months for. I'm making this guy a lot of money. And I walk in and I was like, "Hey, need this one paid." And he's like, "Show me a signed contract and I'll pay it." What? It's like, "I don't got a signed contract. Show me a signed contract and I'll pay it." Well, come to find out, my buddy did not get the contract signed. We started on the house anyways. I'm early 20s, don't know better. And he pretty much just stiffed me on 30 grand. I sold my truck, sold my tools, sold my trailer, and I left Cleveland, Ohio with my tail between my legs.
Wait a minute. He started work on a house he didn't own? Is that what I?
No. We didn't have a
What contract?
He owned,
Like what?
As a contractor, he didn't have a contract to do the work.
Okay.
And he said, "Go pound sand." You didn't sign anything with me, even though he was his
had
trusted.
3 other open contracts with this guy at the time.
Did you finish the open contracts?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. I said, "Okay, I'm done. Here you go. What do you want me to sign? Anything? You can try to come after me. I don't care." And I literally, like I said, I had a crew of guys.
So what did you do wrong there?
Trusted somebody, trusted family. This guy was like a brother to me. And he was
Which guy?
friend.
Like what?
He was a friend, probably.
He's talking about the
Who are we talking about? The person writing the checks, the person that brought you the house?
No.
Okay.
So I brought a buddy on to come work with me.
Okay.
He liked kind of what everything was going on. He's like, "Hey, this is something I could do." I was like, "Okay." And he's like, "Can I do one by myself?" Yeah. All right. Here. Yeah. I'm way too trusting. That's probably.
Well, it sounds like he did what he was supposed to do, though.
Almost.
But he didn't
get
do
a contract signed.
Yeah, but he
was supposed to go get the contract signed.
Yeah, but he
missed
did the work.
The biggest part.
I understand, but he did the work for you.
We did the work. We all did the work. Me and my crews.
And then honestly, if it's a rookie mistake, but it wasn't your buddy that really screwed you. It was really the client.
Oh yeah, I still talk to him. He's still one of my best friends.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He did a simple rookie
now
mistake.
for about a year, it may have been a little rough.
But he did a simple rookie mistake.
Yeah.
But that client should have done what's right.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because you guys obligate. You guys put yourself out there and you got the job done.
It happens. What recourse do I have? What recourse do I have?
I don't know. It seems like you would have some, but I don't know what it would be.
And I was young. I didn't know. And like I said, I got scared and sold truck, tools, trailer, gone.
I mean, you probably had like a series of signed contracts that you could have used as maybe some evidence of continuous work that you've been doing for him. But
now
still,
knowing,
but still legally, nobody they would still say no signed contract, no deal. So
I learned my lessons. Now I don't do anything without.
Yeah, that is rough.
That sucks.
Now I don't do not a thing.
That's a really good feeling forward.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, well, I'm glad you learned something along the way there. Yeah. But we have one last section that we lovingly call the OT with Owen and Ted. That was much better. Good job.
It's so in sync.
It was. Like
we should
NSYNC the band.
Yeah, we should sing like them.
Boy band. No, I don't think anybody wants to hear that. Okay, this is our last section of the show, and we've got some questions for you. We ask every guest. You ready for these bad boys?
Let's go.
All right. First one. What is the title of your first book going to be called or about?
Probably Lunatics. And just go over my life. Just kind of like a biography. I like to have fun.
Lunatics. A biography.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Ted, you're up.
Okay, we are on the Lunatic Podcast,
I like it.
and you can interview anyone in the world today that's alive. Who's it going to be? What's the one question you want to ask?
Oh, it's going to be Jesse James for sure. Like I said, I am a car guy, and that dude has always been an idol of mine. And
Oh, not the Wild West, Jesse James?
No,
Okay.
no. And question I'd have to ask, was Sandra Bullock worth it? Yeah.
Fair. Okay.
You probably are probably not hard to get him on the podcast.
Probably. I would hope so.
I got to be honest. A lot of people love Sandra Bullock. She kind of annoys me. Like, not really
I'm
a
a Jesse
fan.
James fan. How do you think I feel?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I like Julia Roberts. Not a fan.
Yeah.
Don't really care for her.
You know, he probably watched that. What's that first movie she did where she's the hooker?
Yeah, see?
Pretty Woman?
Yeah, Pretty Woman. He probably
He
watched Pretty
thought-
Woman, and he was like,
Bait
and he
and
was
switch.
in love,
Bait and switch.
and he's like, I need to make that happen.
I don't know what any of that means, but I have one more question for you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you know.
Who would you choose to deliver your eulogy, and what do you hope they're going to say about you?
So I like to laugh. I like to make people laugh. And I already have a buddy all set up. He is going to give a eulogy.
You playing this already?
Yeah, dressed as the Grim Reaper. And,
Okay.
and like, I like making people laugh, man.
That might
I
be
like having a good time.
That'd be a good funeral to go to. Huh?
I mean, think about how much would you're sitting there, your loved one's dead. It's a horrible time, and the Grim Reaper walks in to give the eulogy. Who isn't gonna laugh?
Does he have a high squeaky voice? Because that would be funny, like
Oh,
seeing
no.
a Grim Reaper stand up there with
He
like
doesn't, but now I want to change it.
I mean, Owen might not be there because he's quite a bit older, but I might be there, so I'll definitely enjoy it.
Yeah, clearly our lifestyles are dictate that you're going to live a lot longer than me, Ted.
That's my point.
Yeah.
What men in your life has had the biggest
100
impact?
pounds difference. Excuse me. Sorry. Bad cough.
You mean 100 pounds of sexiness? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Yep. That's it.
Okay, so what man in your life has had the biggest impact on you and influenced you either career or personal growth the most?
It'd have to be my mentor, Nate Barger. It'd have to be that just to change my to go from a fixed mindset and he helped take me to a growth mindset, and just the people he's put together and we've come together with it's changed my life forever. I'm happier. I do better. I push myself harder, and I'm not as hard on myself for pushing myself. I would always beat myself up over things. I've always been my biggest critic. I've always sit there and been 10 times harder on myself than anybody else has been. And just kind of just change my mindset and help facilitate the growth I wanted in my life, and to do it in the way he did it. I'll be forever in debt to those people, because it's just how much better life has become for me and just the mindset I carry is it's life changing.
When this releases, you better tag him in this.
I was just going to say that. Like, you got to send this to him, because that's a pretty awesome shout out.
Yeah.
Like, if I heard what you just said about him, if that was about me, I'd be like, Man, that's like a
See,
compliment of a lifetime.
Now, and I gotta throw his partner in there too, Jarius BRRRR. I have to throw his name in there because he's the one that's on our weekly coaching calls every week. A bunch of different, just pushing me. And Adam, what are you doing? Hey, why isn't this? Hey, how many calls did you make this week?
If Jarius BRRRR does not start a music label, he has seriously missed his calling in life, because that sounds like the dominant name. And no, am I wrong?
No.
You're looking at me weird. Jarius BRRRR. That sounds like that's a power name, man. Like, I'm Jarius BRRRR.
Kind of like Dennis Bertrand, which happens to have our next
also
question.
Bertrand.
So Dennis.
Ted will learn this eventually. It's
Yeah.
his godfather. His kid's godfather doesn't know how to pronounce his last name. Just saying. He knows.
So Dennis is mixing up his question, but normally you always ask what you want to be when you grow up, but he's going to now start doing random questions to keep you,
on your feet.
Yeah,
Keep you on your feet. I
yeah,
like
yeah.
it.
So
I like it.
what is your question day? Oh, by the way, welcome back, Dennis, which we talked about in the intro, but I'm just going to say welcome back.
Thank you. I didn't know that I had to randomize my question today, so I am not ready for that. However, I would ask it at the end, and what I would ask now is, what do you want to be when you grow up? When you were younger, what did you want to be when you grew up?
That's a good question.
Professional race car driver, for sure.
What kind
Who was your idol?
Double
Dale
questions.
Earnhardt. Oh yeah, Earnhardt.
So you want to be like a NASCAR driver?
No, I'd love to do like rally or road racing, stuff like that.
What's your car of
That'd be
choice?
awesome.
That's a random question.
Okay, so like my favorite car of all time, like I'd love to make a 1970 Chevelle road course car, wide body, trimmed out, just
I have like a high school picture of my biological dad and my mom sitting on their 1968 Super Sport Chevelle, blue with white stripes, with a 4-foot bong in her hands. I got these.
I just got the same picture of my mom last week. I just got the same picture last week.
So, Mom, I know you listen to this. I'm sorry I had to put that out there.
That is awesome. I love it. Oh, man. I lost track where we're at. Okay. So, Adam, if somebody catching this happens to want to like interact with you, or what are you looking for in your business right now, or in your life, where you might be able to connect with somebody that might fill in the blanks?
Deals. Always looking for deals. If you find any deals, you can reach me at lutekpropertymanagement@gmail.com or on Facebook at Leutik Property Management. There also.
What is a deal to you?
It depends. I got to run my numbers.
Okay.
I underwrite all my own deals. I sit there. I go through. I have multiple spreadsheets that I put everything through. That you sit there. Every property's got a number.
Yep.
Do you have a specific? Do you have a specific margin or something that you don't go under? A margin of profit.
Not even that. Like I said, if I can get funding and I can get a deal done, it's a deal.
Okay. More specifically, what kind? Like, what are you looking for? Because is it land? Is it glamping? Is it single family?
Single family or small multi. Single family, small multi is what I'm mainly looking for. But also, you have a deal, you can't get sold. Something's going on. I'm part of a network of thousands of people. That I can tell you either why it's not a deal or hook you up with somebody that if it's not in my price range, it's not where I'm going. I got someone I can hook you up with.
Cool. Your mentor has a BHAG. What is your BHAG?
My big hair. I want to donate $1 million in 1 year. That's my big, hairy, audacious goal.
Do you have a end game in mind for who's receiving that?
No, and not right now.
The Owen Dashner Foundation. I've heard great things.
Great things. Amazing. They do amazing work. But yeah, no, not any specific. Just it could even be. It's just a personal goal of mine. Is I want to be to the point.
The questions keep coming. The questions keep coming. Because now I'm wondering, like, that whole adoption process that you went through, if you think that your money would actually go a long way there, or do you not believe in the system that much that you rather not put your money in it?
Oh, I'd rather not put my money in the system.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to throw a curveball at you. I've heard awesome things about REIA Radio, and they're a nonprofit. In fact, they're way a nonprofit.
We might be 60 or 70,000 behind.
They're the most nonprofit organization you've ever met. I've heard great things about them. So if you have a place that you're looking to park money, just keep us in mind.
We promise one day we'll be big.
All right. What are we doing now?
Well, if you're listening for the first time or the 132nd time, we really appreciate a review on whatever platform you listen to. If you're listening to us on Apple, please leave us a written review with your 5-star review. Or if you listen to us on Spotify, please do the same. I'm not Spotify. What's the Amazon version? Audible, thank you. Audible, please give us a written review there. I did check our Spotify, and it is the only place that we do not rank a 5-star. We have a 4.9 rating there. So
I'm sorry about that 1.2 I gave you.
Yeah, so if you're a Spotify listener, definitely give us some 5 stars so we can get that one rating that we have up to a 5-star. We really appreciate it. And you can also find us on YouTube if you want to watch the video version of this, and also on Rumble. So we have a couple different versions out there. We are on all the platforms, so we do appreciate that.
Rumble. I don't even know what that is still.
So Rumble is owned by Dan Bongino and Donald Trump, and it's their free speech platform. And if there's an opportunity for me to put our content out there, I'm going to put it on whatever platform I can find. So,
boom. Okay.
With that, Owen Dashner, we see us out.
On behalf of REIA Radio, Dennis Bertrand,
he's back,
and Ted Kosh, I'm Owen Dashner, and you've been listening to Adam Get Strapped or Get Clapped Leutik.
I love how he did his face when he did that.
Signing off. Y'all.
You got to watch out on YouTube when he says that.
I'm going to have to.
Get strapped. Get clapped. Okay, we are on your Podtac.
Podtac?
Radio Edit.
I love listening to Podtacs.
Radio Edit.
They're the best.